You ever come home and feel something's just off, like the world tilted a degree while you were gone, and it takes your eyes a second to even believe what they're seeing? That was me. Elijah Cole rolling up my gravel driveway after a long Tuesday ready for leftovers and a little peace, only to find the living wall I'd built between my sanity and the HOA next door had vanished clean as a whistle. 7 years of dense green privacy just wiped from the face of the earth, like it had never existed at all. Now I know it sounds crazy, but in that moment, staring at a gash of raw earth and stumps where my hedge used to be, it felt personal, like the universe was having a little fun at my expense. Here's the thing, I bought this 1.5-acre lot specifically because it sat outside Sagewood Hill, that little fiefdom of painted mailboxes and militant lawn committees, and I'd always made a point of staying just out of reach. My hedge was my line in the sand, my don't even think about it to the world, and someone had just crossed it. I did what anyone would do. Walked the length of the damage, knelt down, ran my fingers over the cuts. Clean, too. Clean for a stray landscaper or a bored teenager. Whoever did this used pro tools, left no tracks, no sawdust, nothing. No note in the mailbox, no angry neighbor waiting to brag. The only thing left behind was the silence. Oh, and my heartbeat suddenly pounding so loud I thought the whole street could hear it. That lasted, I kid you not, maybe half an hour tops before the real culprit showed up. Sharp knock door swings open and there stands Karen Aldridge. Yes, that Karen, the neighborhood's very own tyrant queen, decked out in salmon and pearls, holding her HOA smile just tight enough to hide the fangs. Elijah, she beams. Doesn't your place just look so much better now that the hedge is gone? Really opens up the view, don't you think? I swear my jaw didn't drop so much as lock. I told her flat out I didn't authorize anything. That hedge was mine on my property. She barely blinked. Oh well, the board discussed it. We sent a notice. It was just a bit overgrown. You know how it is, maintaining a cohesive aesthetic. And she finishes with, "Don't worry, we didn't charge you for the removal." The nerve. I'm not the yelling type, but I made it real clear, low, and even, "This house is not part of Sagewood Hill. You had no authority." Karen gave me that bureaucratic little smirk, the kind that says, "What are you going to do about it?" and walked off heels, clacking, leaving me standing there with anger rising like a fever. But here's the thing. If you know me, you know I'm not the revenge type. I'm the architect who plans everything 3 steps ahead type. So I poured a glass of water, sat at my drafting table, and started to sketch. And what came out wasn't another hedge. No, I was thinking bigger. Sunrise Wednesday. The contractors rolled in 4 guys in dusty boots, hauling cedar panels taller than me and enough concrete to build a bunker. I handed over a diagram, pointed at the property line, and told them 9 feet tall, 0 gaps, all the way down, and only one color. The look on their faces when they saw the paint swatch sunset blush a pink so loud it could knock your sunglasses off. You should have seen it. You sure, they asked. Dead sure, I said. Inside that fence, I wired up 6 cameras with motion sensors, cloud back up the works, because I had a hunch this story wasn't over. By Friday, the fence was up a pink wall standing proud and obnoxious against the HOA's muted palette. From the street, it was a pink scream. From my side, it was a fortress. And let's be honest, it was bait. Didn't take long. That evening, Karen and her little crew of clipboard warriors showed up staring holes through the fence. The next morning, first letter slid under my gate, HOA logo front and center, full of legalese about unsanctioned structures and aesthetic ordinances. I shredded it without even reading past the first threat. By Sunday, I had 2 more letters, and Karen herself pounding at the gate this time with backup clipboard guy binder, lady the works. I let him stand there for 20 minutes while my cameras caught every furious hand gesture, every whispered, "He can't get away with this." By nightfall, my inbox was flooded with emails about community harmony and the color scheme of our future. They really thought the fence was the battle. You ever get the feeling you're playing chess and everyone else thinks it's checkers? That was me, sipping coffee and running diagnostics on my security feeds while the HOA spun itself into a frenzy. Next twist, certified mail from the county complaint about regional visual compatibility ordinances. I nearly choked laughing. But I called my attorney, Grace Walters, who doesn't just chew up HOAs, she swallows them whole. Within a day, Grace had fired off a response, attached all my deeds maps and county codes proving they had zero jurisdiction over my property. County dismissed their complaint without a hearing. I framed that letter and hung it in my kitchen. Karen's next move. Viewing walks. Little mobs of residents strolling by, gawking, taking photos, muttering about visual pollution. Theatrics, really. Then came the leaflets. Is your neighbor's property hurting your home value with a grainy shot of my fence front and center? I wanted to clap back, but Grace said, let 'em. The more noise they make, the worse they look. Now here's where things get spicy. Because while they stewed over pink paint, I started connecting dots. Neighbors came forward with stories, trees chopped parties, fined garden gnomes, exiled for aesthetic violations. People were scared to talk, but the more they did, the more I realized I wasn't alone. The HOA wasn't just overzealous, they were a little out of control. And right when I thought maybe things might cool off, they made their big mistake. 6 days after the county threw out their case, my phone woke me at 2:46 a.m. Motion detected east fence. Live feed comes up 3 figures, masked gloves on, creeping along my fence with saws and bolt cutters. One's wearing a windbreaker with the HOA logo, no joke. They're whispering, prepping to slice open my fence. Then bam, my strobe alarm kicks in. They freeze cameras, get clear shots, and as they scatter, one mask slips just enough to reveal his face. John Aldridge, Karen's husband. Of course. Their car, Karen's plates. Next morning, I handed all the footage to Detective Warren Big Guy, built like he eats cinder blocks for breakfast. You a cop, he asks. Just an architect with trust issues, I say. He loved that. Within hours, warrants were out for John and for HOA records. I emailed the story to a local reporter, and suddenly, this little feud was front-page news, caught on camera, HOA president's husband leads midnight raid. By noon, Sacramento News was running dramatic segments with blurry screenshots. And what power does an HOA really have? Karen and John denied everything until the GPS and plate data nailed them to the scene. What happened next was honestly wild. My inbox exploded. Neighbors sent stories, photos, even fines they'd paid for things like non-compliant wind chimes. A spreadsheet later, I'd tracked 19 cases of overreach, including forged letters and backyard invasions. Karen tried damage control emergency board meeting closed session, but audio leaked and it was brutal, her voice shaking, blaming a campaign against her. Meanwhile, the sheriff's office found enough digital receipts and emails to tie both Karen and another board member to the whole Hedge debacle, right down to the invoice for landscaping correction. The county pressed charges for trespass, vandalism, conspiracy, and then financial misconduct because the treasurer, Milton Parr, came forward with proof she'd used discretionary HOA funds for the job without approval. He resigned on the spot. The headlines got wilder: power privilege and pink fences, how one wall brought down a neighborhood tyrant. Then the floodgates residents started meeting outside HOA oversight, swapping stories, drafting a petition. Within 2 days, they'd gotten 2/3 to sign and voted to suspend the board. Karen tried to threaten everyone with legalese, but even the neutral neighbors turned on her. My pink fence became a kind of symbol, and to top it off, someone printed t-shirts with it right under the phrase, "My fence, my freedom." Yeah, that happened. Final act. Karen, refusing to go, quietly hired an unlicensed private inspector to case my property for code violations. Cameras caught the whole thing. Grace filed a complaint for harassment. The local news ran another headline. And Milton, the treasurer, handed over emails showing even more financial shenanigans. Karen was arrested the next morning. John pled out probation and community service. Karen got 18 months for conspiracy, vandalism, and fraud. The HOA dissolved, the kingdom toppled, and for the first time in years, Sagewood Hill actually felt like a neighborhood again. You know what the real kicker is? I never did replant the hedge. Kept the fence, repainted it blue with a polished cedar trim, and put a plaque in the center, "My fence, my freedom." Trespassing, you're on camera. The footage went viral. 3 million views and counting. Folks wanted interviews, podcast backyard makeovers. Me, I just wanted my peace back. So what do you think? Was I wrong to fight back? Where's the line between order and overreach? Drop your thoughts below, because if there's one thing I learned, it's that in suburbia, your fence says more about you than your front door ever will. And yeah, sometimes you really do have to paint it pink just to make a point.